Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole, honored as always to be with you today. And I feel like we're in a whirlwind. Do you feel like that sometimes? There is so much going on, even though we're still at the beginning of the year. For those who are watching this live, and whether it's live or anytime soon, it's still the beginning of this year. It feels like sometimes 10 years have gone by, like in a blink. So much is going on. And I was trying to get a sense of what am I feeling right now? What am I experiencing? What am I feeling? What's working? What isn't working? And what can I do about it? And one of the things that has been happening for me, and I'm going to bet for you as well, is constant connection to the news, constant worry about what's going to happen next in our world. From the fires, and I have a sister who lives in Los Angeles, and she wasn't able to sleep for many nights wondering if the fire would reach her neighborhood. And thank God it didn't. But so many neighborhoods were demolished and people's homes and lives obliterated. The election, which was tumultuous, and post-election, which has us left with question after question after question on a very deep level. And what has happened, what I'm experiencing and what I'm observing is that tensions are high, that it's like a spark can light in a blink. When people had patience, it feels like there's less patience. And so, again, I was looking for where am I in this moment? What do I want? What do I need? And how can I be in better alignment? And therefore, how can you? And what I wrote when I was contemplating what to share with you today, I want to share what I wrote in case you didn't see it. I wrote, cherish your friends, especially now when tensions are high and tongues are sharp. We must cling to our friends, love and nurture them, thank them for loving us, and see God. What I have said, I wrote, see God elected. What did I mean? But see God through them to us. My point here, because I see I mistyped something, it's see God reflected through them into us. That's what I meant. See God reflected through our friends into us. And I think about that, to see God reflected through your friends pouring into us. When you have friendship like that, you can take a breath. You can calm down. You can feel like somebody's got your back. So let me share this with you again. My producer fixed it. Thank you, Fallon. Cherish your friends. That's the focus of today. Cherish your friends, especially now when tensions are high and tongues are sharp. We must cling to our friends, love and nurture them, thank them for loving us, and see God reflected through them into us. I feel very strongly about this, and I am currently with friends. I'm in upstate New York at my oldest friend, Lejeune. I'm here at her home. She is the president of Ithaca College, Dr. Lejeune Terry Cornish. She's been my friend since we were in high school. And I'm here because Angela Davis is going to be speaking on Tuesday, and I wanted to hear her speak. And I said, well, you're having her come, I'll come spend time with you. And I'm so glad that I did, spending time with her and Deb over this weekend, and just being able to connect and kind of relax your shoulders, let your hair down, so to speak, with someone who knows me. She and her wife know me, who know me, love me. I've known her since I was a child, a teenager. That's a very special kind of friendship. And there's a level of acceptance that comes in such a friendship that is to be treasured, because I really do feel like it can be the antidote to some of the challenging things that happen in our lives, especially now. And so I wanted us to explore friendship because I'm sitting in this space of friendship right now and feeling buoyed up, feeling hugged up, feeling loved up, feeling like everything is a little softer. And we were doing we were glued to current events and had to turn it off. Like, wait a minute, we don't need any more of this right now. We need peace. And how can we find peace? What can we do? And through fellowship, we did that. And we have been able, because it's still going on, to talk about anything and everything, the most tender things that you only talk about with people you trust. And it has been a blessing to be in their company at this time for me. And so I wanted to say to all of you, cherish your friendships. Do not neglect your friends. Don't forget them. Reach out to them. Remember them. Honor them, because true friendships are, it's a circle of love and they honor you. And so in those times when you really need that hug, when you need support, when you feel like, you need the lifeline, true friends will be there. And you don't even have to be talking to them all the time, because that connection is such a deep, heartfelt connection that it could be any amount of time when you don't talk to them. And when you do, you're right there again. And I think that's really powerful. I want to go to the quote that I selected, and I want to tell you it was so much fun looking for quotes. This one touched me for a particular reason, and I'll tell you. It says, "A friend knows the song in my heart. A friend knows the song in my heart and sings it to me when my memory fails." Isn't that beautiful? From Donna Roberts. Let me share it again. "A friend knows the song in my heart and sings it to me when my memory fails." Sit with that for a second. A friend knows the song in my heart and sings it to me when memory fails. This stood out to me among many amazing quotes for a very particular reason. I so often talk about my mother. She is now 95 years old, and she's in a very tender place right now. And her best friend from when they were, I think, 4 years old, it's either 3 or 4 years old. So they've been friends since they were virtually born, since they could talk, to now when they are both 95. And at different points when they have needed each other in different ways, my sisters and I have observed them being there for each other, buoying each other. And Aunt Margaret, my mother's friend, we've observed her when my mother has been frail. Aunt Margaret has held the conversation and brought up the memories and the things that make them both smile. I mean, she literally shows us that she sees the song in my mother's heart. And my mother does the same thing. Like, they love being around each other and they just sit, they talk, they share memories. They remember things from when they were little girls right up to now. And to see that sweet, sweet love between friends is just something that my sisters and I and Aunt Margaret's daughter, Robin, treasure. We value so much, because A whole lot of people don't have that. First of all, most people don't live that long. And to live that long and have friends, and my mother has a group of friends who are in her age group, but she and Aunt Margaret have been together the longest. And I see Aunt Margaret, igniting and reigniting the song that she sees in my mother's heart. And it's just a beautiful thing to witness and to take in. And this is not always what happens in friendships. Sometimes friends can be extremely critical, rude, uh, dismissive, harsh, impatient. And I'm going to venture to say that, I mean, I know I have been that on occasion, and I bet you have too. Unconsciously not being there as best you could based on whatever the distraction was going on in your world. What Donna Roberts says, a friend knows the song in my heart and sings it to me when my memory fails. Think about that. I'm going to tell you about another friend. I talk about him a lot, my friend Sekou. He will say to me when I have moments of doubt, when I'm wondering if, you know, what have I been doing? Is what I'm doing counting? Is when I have those lack of confidence moments, and I know we all have them. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how high you've risen in your life. We all have moments when confidence wanes. And Sekou would say, come on now, let me remind you. Let me remind you of what we just did, because I've worked with him over many years as well. Let me remind you of what we did. Let me remind you of this or that. And I have other friends who do that as well. And it's a beautiful, special thing for a friend to highlight something loving and positive and uplifting about you when you aren't feeling it, rather than to cut you down when you're already diminished. I want you to hear this because I'm sure I'm not alone in having had this experience. There is a time and a place for everything. And I've talked to you about this before, the four gateways of speech. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it timely? That kind part. How often do we drop the kind part and just go for the jugular? I can't believe you X. I can't believe that, 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 that. How could you blah, 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 whatever it is. Or I have known you for all these years and you are still doing that? Can't you get over yourself? Do you hear, does any of this resonate with you? I don't think I'm alone. I think that this happens even with the most well-meaning people. We get impatient when with our friends, who, especially those we've known for a long time, and it seems like they're stuck. They're on a treadmill that they can't get off. They are like, why can't you see this obvious thing that you're doing that is giving you this result? Why can't you see? They want to shake it out of you. Why can't you see? And then, oh my goodness, I cannot listen to you anymore. Have you ever done that? Has anybody ever done it to you? You know what that feels like? It doesn't feel good. And very often it doesn't spark positive action. Very often, in my experience and in my personal experience and in just being listening to people and engaging people for so many years, especially through my advice column, Sense and Sensitivity, people write to me all the time with these stuck dilemmas. And sometimes it has to do with friends and how friends react to whatever is happening with us. It doesn't usually work to be terse, to be judgmental, to point out one's deficiencies, to lose it because you just are impatient with a friend, because that breaks their spirit and yours. It's so much better to look for the joy, look for the song, look for the light, offer a reflection of the light in that person rather than point out the deficiencies. And this takes conscious effort, especially when times are tough, like now, when it feels like the whole world is on fire. Because when it feels like that, it often feels like that in our spirit. And so you could be frustrated about one thing and take it out on the people you love the most because they're there, because you're talking to them. And I want to say, let's not do that. Let's take a breath. My friend Lejeune said, I was asking her if she was ready for her day. She's the college president. There's a lot going on. But she's busy, and everyone looks to her for guidance and inspiration and clarity. And she said, I'm good because I know the man upstairs has got me. And she said she reads in a spiritual text every morning. And the focus today was reminding her to know that God's protection is always there. Always. Doesn't mean she doesn't have to do her job. We have to do our job. We have to step forward and take the effort and do whatever it is that we are charged with doing in our lives. But having faith, believing that you aren't alone, is powerful. And I will add, because of today's topic, having friends who have your back, who love you, and who take a breath rather than cutting you down with biting words, that is a blessing. I want to share with you, for those who are connected right now, if you want to join this conversation and tell me what you're feeling and thinking, tell all of us, you can. You can go to my website, harrietcole.com/inspiration, and we can bring you on the platform. If you'd like to, you're welcome to join us. We started doing this from time to time last year, and some folks came on. It was really powerful to hear from you too. So if you'd like to join the conversation, we go till the half hour, and you can go to harrietcole.com/inspiration and join. I'm curious about how you feel about friendship. You know, friends are the people we choose to be our family. And when you think about it that way, you know, your family is your family. You can't extricate yourself from them, not really. And so when you invite friends into the fold as family, it's such a positive thing. And there's something that is intangible about that relationship, and yet you feel it more than tangible things. It's so powerful. And going back to my mother, when we had her 95th birthday party, which was in October, and the 5 people in her life who are 95 to 100, 4 women and 1 man, and the man is 100, they were just so happy to be together, happy to be in each other's company, grateful that their children brought them together because they're 95 to 100. They needed help. Um, but one of them, Aunt Ellen, just stopped working. And that reminded me of my grandmother, who worked until she was 93. It's amazing what people can do and the beauty and buoyancy that they can share when they love each other and they look for the light in each other, look for the song in each other. I love that quote because music, I think, is so really critical to feeding the spirit. And when I was growing up, my mother is a soprano. She sang on the choir from when she was a little girl up until I think she was 88, and she still sings now. And we would have music in the house because either she was singing and playing the piano, or my father was playing Nat King Cole and Count Basie. And now we have other music in our house, but it's beautiful. I was watching a program the other day where it was a nature program, and they were showing these beautiful birds, and you could hear them. And I don't know how I didn't know that this is what this was called, but they actually call it bird song. And yes, Suzanne says, yes, look for the light in each other. It's such a great thing to do, Suzanne. It's so good. It's so good. And bird song, if you ever listen, just be still, go outside. I live in Manhattan. Even in Manhattan, you can hear the birds sometimes. But depending upon where you are, they may be very close. Listen to the beautiful way in which they communicate with each other. And then I want you to think about the song in your heart. Do you think you have one? What music plays in your being? Do you ever wake up or as you're doing chores or something, you find yourself humming or singing? What music is in your heart? I this morning was listening to a chant, a spiritual chant, and just listening and being still and allowing it to wash over me and just let my thoughts get really still so that I could quiet the worries, the concerns, the anxiousness that is sometimes there. The chant just allowed me to be still, just be and connect my heart with the greatness of the universe. It was powerful. It's so simple. What is the song in your heart saying? And do your friends see it? Do your friends notice it? Do they speak to it? Do your friends tell you, oh, you are so great at this? Or when you start doubting yourself, that's not what I see. Let me tell you what I see about you. Even if it's just this spark of goodness that you haven't worked on yet. But I hear you talking about this great idea. I think you should pay some attention to that because that brings you joy. Even when people are feeling like they're drowning in a sea of sorrow, a friend can see that spark of joy, that spark of potential. And then what happens? Another thing that occurred this weekend, because we have life, death, ups, downs. My sister Susan, who I mentioned, who's in California, has a young lady who is like family to her, she and her father. She's 18. And she's had a boyfriend for 3.5 years. So basically, the only person that's been her boyfriend, a sweet young man. And her father loves him, good people. He was headed to work and was in a car crash and is no longer. At 21 years old, he left this earth. the devastation of that, the beginning of an adult life gone, for this young woman just becoming a woman and loving, having real love and losing it. These things hurt. It's like, what? What did you say happened? I couldn't even believe it when she told me. When friends are in pain, how do you love them? How do you find the song when it's a broken-hearted song? And I listened to her find the song for her, the young lady and her dad, who are like family to my sister. I watch my sister Stephanie, who is in Baltimore, where I'm from, where my mother is, manage through an extremely high-powered job that can be stressful, although you never see it on her face, and be the primary one in our family who cares for our mother. And like our mother, with a smile on her face, bringing light and joy and love at every turn. Even when dealing with hard stuff, she's still looking for the light. The light and the song are the same to me. And by the way, Stephanie's been on the choir since she was a little girl. There's a lot of music in my family, and I'm sure there's a lot of music in yours. And I want you to find the song. Find the song inside of you. And think of friends, people who you really, really love, and what is their song? And speak to that. My challenge to you this week is to reach out to friends and speak to the song in them. See it. Call it forth. Tell them you see it. Speak to that greatness in them. Because guess what? We all need it. We need to be seen in the most positive and loving way. We need to be seen as worthy of greatness, as worthy of respect, as worthy of love. As we need to be warriors in this world to fight for the things we believe in, we need the power of others seeing us and valuing us and treasuring the goodness in us. I really think that this is part of being alive. I do. When you feel alone, when you feel like you are not loved, when you feel like you are being judged all around, your light diminishes. People need people. Obviously, we need to have faith, yes, but we also literally need each other. And we need each other to be supportive. So even in critical moments, when you need to tell, well, I always believe in telling the truth, but when you need to course correct, you need to share something with someone you love that could be difficult to share, do it with love and kindness. Sometimes, I mentioned earlier about when you keep hearing things over and over again, you see things over and over again that your friends are doing, and you can't take it anymore. Rather than just rejecting them, you can say, I love you and I can't help you with this. I think you need to get a different kind of help. I love you and I can't carry this burden right now because it's too great for me. I can't handle it. So I want you to find more support so that you don't feel alone. I love you, and I think you need to get the help that you need in order to heal from whatever this is. You do not, by this idea of seeing the song in others, that doesn't mean that you take on all their burdens. But you can be clear with them in a loving way, in a mean way, in a kind way, in a way that doesn't leave them crying on the sidewalk, but instead feeling that there's hope. This is so important, folks. Now, When it feels like we're being attacked in so many ways, please let us not attack each other. So I want to share the quote with you one more time before we go. A friend knows the song in my heart and sings it to me when my memory fails. Be that friend for somebody. Sing the song in your friend's heart when your friend is feeling tender and not strong and not seeing their value. Show them you can do it. And it's a cycle, and it'll happen for you too. And until next time, have a great day and make it count. Namaste.